Good morning, everyone. How are you? Just having some tea. Pre-breakfast tea. I had a lazy day today. We had a big storm last night. A lot of wind. And a power cut. Because it snowed again. So I'm gonna add some stuff to the compost. Some food scraps. Just some bits and pieces. It's good for the compost here. Extra moisture out the snow. Here's Rocco. Buddy. There's Mama. Hello, Mama. You coming in by the fire? I had planned to come out and clean up the flower beds. I'm just going to have a lazy day today. Everything is melting. But I really do need to come out and do these trees. Just a bit tired. Come on, man. Come on. Let's go, Mama. Right. How did my door lock itself? Luckily enough, I have two ways into my house. Who's coming to bed? Come on. Do you want food? Let's go, Mama. Let's go. Go, Mom. The front door locked itself. Let's go, Mama. You want to carry it in? She's shivering. I'm going to carry her in. We're all going to have our breakfast together. We chill out. A little bit of fish there for you, buddy. Oh, you like a fish, huh? You get something. So now all the squares have moved away. I just want to tell you about the Georgia Guidestones. Where do you think the whole climate change narrative comes from? Where do you think this whole diversity thing comes from? Where do you think this whole talk of race comes from? Why do you think this scam is happening? This is the Georgia Guidestones and what it's written. What is written on it? Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. So that's eugenics. Billy Bob, Gates of Hell. He's a eugenicist. He's bought up a lot of farmland and he wants to push GMO poison on people. Pushing stabbies in order to go with rule number 1. Rule number 2, guide reproduction wisely. So that's your Planned Parenthood, which was founded by Margaret Sanger and Billy Bob Master, Gates of Hell. his father. In providing fitness and diversity. It should be diversity of ideas, not diversity of colour. Your skin colour and your nationality are automatic traits assigned at birth. They don't define you. You need to go and achieve things for yourself. People are brainwashed at the moment with these very narratives that are being pushed on society. Women are being manipulated and they're going around social media thinking these things are their own ideas, and they're pushing this narrative. You know, there's all this talk of race and diversity and, you know, your skin colour and your nationality, they don't matter. They're automatic traits. You need to be a person, a child of God, and you need to achieve something in your own life. You need to have your own ideas rather than somebody else's bullet points being pushed on you. There's a huge shortcut to thinking out there. People are assigned, you know, generational people are assigned a label. You know, people born between 1945 and 1965 are referred to as boomers. And then people after 1965 to 1985 are Generation X, then there's Millennials, then there's Generation Z, whatever, all these fucking things, you know. These are, you know, the group think. People are individuals, you know. You are not defined by the label that's put on you. You are not defined by your nationality. You're not defined by your skin colour. Rule number 3 says, unite humanity with a living new language. So, everything that identifies people with their nationality and their languages are going to be deleted. History is being rewritten at the moment. And they're pushing these narratives. Weak men are allowing women, children, and the vulnerable to be manipulated. Rule number 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. So this kind of goes against their rule number 3 and their rule number 2. Tradition. Whose traditions? Because communities, families, tribes, people have their own traditions, family traditions, traditions of religion, you know, different things like that. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. The only fair law is God's law. Man's law is all about revenue. It's all about giving you no freedom, making you get a license to fish the ocean, fish the rivers, watch propaganda on a television, own a firearm, own a car, you know. Revenue, they just keep taxing you. Even the food that you buy, every time you go to the store, you're paying tax and VAT. Then when you get paid, you're paying tax and VAT. Everything goes back in the box. like the end of monopoly, you know. Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So this is pushing the New World Order. In a world court. So basically, your community police officers or your country's courts won't exist anymore. This is going to be like the European Union on a bigger scale. Unelected people are running most of Europe. European countries don't have say in their own constituencies, in their own countries. They're obeying the rules of people that nobody elected. The people didn't. 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. So, you know, petty laws. Like what? Theft, rape, murder. You know, is that what they mean by that? Where I came from in Ireland, I was a security guard. Anything under a certain amount of money wouldn't be seen, wouldn't be heard by the police, so I wouldn't even go to court. So that was sending a vast message out to people that they could just come and steal from companies. The company can afford it. Yeah, but every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You know, it's just inflation, people. Inflation. The cost of living. People don't understand these things. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. You get your rights from God. People are walking around with their privileges now. You know, they're expecting things. So there's all these people at the moment after working 50 odd years, and they're going to expect a pension. The system is being made to collapse. That money is not going to be there for those people. They are not going to pay pensions for 30 years for a load of boomers and people retiring now. So this is the reason why they're pushing this narrative at the moment. They're trying to scare the vulnerable. Suicide rates are going up. It all goes with rule number 1 of the guidestones. They want to bring the population down. There's no more died of natural causes, you know. Pneumonia, all these other diseases, they've all dropped because of this propaganda they're pushing. 9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Now, they don't say God, they say the infinite. These people are Luciferians. Thou shalt not kill doesn't have a footnote. Doctors have taken a Hippocratic oath, which comes from Greek texts. Hippocratic oath to do no harm. You know, yet they're pushing abortion and they're pushing assisted suicide. And they're turning people away from hospitals that need healthcare because they won't abide by the propaganda that's being pushed. These people are supposed to be professional healthcare providers, yet they call it a practice because these people use people as guinea pigs to push big pharmaceutical drugs on people. It's not right what they're doing. Your ears are connected to your nose and your throat inside your respiratory system. Yeah, no doctor will tell you that. They want you to wear a covering of your face, which is irrelevant because your ears are connected to your nose and your throat. Breathing carbon dioxide and nitrogen is very, very dangerous for you. If you cover up the exhaust pipe on a car, you're going to ruin the engine. Your body is an engine. So if you cover up your mouth and nose and you start breathing carbon dioxide and nitrogen, you're going to get hypercapnia, which is the effects of breathing carbon dioxide and nitrogen mixed with lower levels of oxygen. Then people are social pleasantries. They're just wearing the mask to please other people. People pleasers. They're wearing the same mask all the time. So they're waterboarding themselves with their own spit. And they're going to get something called bacterial pneumonia. And bacterial pneumonia and hypercapnia are the same exact symptoms of imagination. 19. Number 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Now, if these climate changers cared about nature, they'd go around planting trees instead of walking around with cardboard signs, gathering in public places and littering all over the place. Cardboard comes from trees. God has already figured this out. Humans and animals breathe in oxygen and they expel carbon and nitrogen. These climate changers want to take the carbon emissions out of the air. What does that mean? That means murder. Trees do the opposite of animals and humans. Trees expel oxygen and they take the carbon emissions out of the air. So this is already figured out by God. But these people don't believe in God. They believe in the infinite. They believe in space and you're gonna just, your life is meaningless and you're gonna, the infinite. It's ridiculous. These people are out of their minds. These stones were erected in 1980. Now, these are Freemasons. These people are all murderers and liars. And all of the bullet point narratives, all the propaganda that's being pushed on children and on women through media and social media is coming straight from these clowns. In 1918, they had the Spanish flu. At that same time, they were making people wear face coverings. As the influenza pandemic swept across the United States in 1918, it came from army base after a stabby. before the stabby came, it was propaganda. And then this. Does this look familiar to anybody? Any of this look familiar? Women ranting at people. Women and children in face coverings. They've even got a cat with a mask on. This is 1918. Spanish flu. The elderly and children are most affected by this. Now, these people were putting coverings on animals. In 1914, World War I happened. Four years later, within that 4 years, they pushed fear. They made people go through this. And then in 1918, an outbreak because of a stabby that originated from an American military base. In 1912, the supposed Titanic sank. People aboard the supposed Titanic, which was actually the Britannica, were opposing the Federal Reserve. The Britannica was sank on purpose. Two years later, they brought the world to war. So a lot of people died in the Great War. And then about 50 million died in the Spanish flu. Even though the Georgia Guidestones was erected in 1980, these same things were being pushed on people over 100 years ago. These people, they think they can kind of get away with it by telling you what they're doing. You know, they're free of responsibility. But they're not. They're responsible for a lot of deaths. And they're trying to do it again. People need to understand their history, where they've come from. But history is being wiped out, rewritten. But a lot of this stuff it's out there for people to look up. But people are too lazy. They want things spoon-fed to them in screen form. So, let me get my spoon out. Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Open up. Wider. Wider. Take a big sip. Sweet. Certain businesses profited from these narratives. Certain other businesses collapsed. People lost their livelihoods. Family-run businesses were replaced by big corporations. Any of this sound familiar to anybody? People don't know their own bodies. They don't know that their ears are connected to their nose and their throat. This Department of Health clipping saying sneeze but don't scatter. you're going to sneeze into your mask and let it just spread all over your face. If you really believe in the imagination 19, you should know that your ears are connected to your nose and your throat. So you should also buy tampons, and these little strings, attach them to your fashionable mask and stick these into your ears. You've also got another cavity, your anus. If you really believe in imagination 19, you need to put a potato in your anus. Take another potato and then stick it into your exhaust pipe in your car, because you don't want your car getting imagination 19 either. Drive around in your expensive German car and see what that potato does to your engine. And just clench. Here we see this fashionable lady with her ears exposed. She's got her fashionable visor. She doesn't believe that the imagination can come from behind her or from below her. Restaurants, doctors' offices, dentists' offices are asking people to enter with a mask. I had the displeasure of going to a dentist. They tried to jump out from behind the door and put a gun to my head. A thermometer. I told the little woman to back off. Don't ever point a gun at me. She's like, no, it's not. Don't ever point something at my fucking head like that again. The women were in fashionable masks, and the so-called man, he had a mask, a visor, and a helmet, and he had this plastic covering over his clothes. He's supposed to be the one being the leader. He's supposed to be the professional. Yeah, he was more in fear than the women. He wanted me to walk in with a mask on and then sit in his big chair with the buttons and adjust me in positions he wanted me to be in. And then he was going to stick his fingers in my mouth without a face covering, while he was hiding behind all of his personal protection equipment. Didn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Nobody's thinking. Restaurants, they want you to walk in with a mask on, and then you can sit down and take it off, and then you can eat something. The virus, it only travels over 5 feet. Once you sit down, you're okay. So in that aspect, why are children being made wear masks? It's okay for you to give me food in the likes of McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell or a sandwich shop, and I have to ingest that food inside my body. But it's not all right for you to look at my God-given face, because you're in too much fear. If you're in fear, you should stay home. But I have a livelihood. I must pay my bills. Yeah, and so do the people that have had their businesses closed down. You're pushing propaganda. People are spreading fear to each other. No government official, no police officer, nobody is threatening you. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. You're all being manipulated. And it's just sad to see such weakness. But you need to gain strength from that weakness. The only mask you need is masculinity. Doctors who've taken a Hippocratic oath are not telling people how to take care of themselves, how to boost their immune system. There's all this propaganda out there with stickers. But there are none of these on the streets. Has anybody seen one of these for your fashionable little personal protection device? Climate changers supposedly cared about the climate. These people supposedly cared about your health. There's big business being generated from this. Your government, your hospitals, they haven't sent you any of this stuff even though you pay taxes. You have to go out and buy them. You don't even read the box, do you? This product is an ear loop mask. This product is not a respirator and will not provide any protection against imagination 19 or other scary, scary things. People don't even know how to wear them properly. They're wearing them around their chin. They're leaving their nose exposed. They're touching the front of it constantly. And then they're going around stores touching everything else with their filthy bacteria, which is just strengthening other people's immune systems. People are standing there in coverings and they're smoking and they're vaping, yet they believe there's something in the air. There is something in the air. These are supposed to be men. It's just fashion. Look at this idiot. You know, how many BDSM clubs do you think he goes to every week, every night? Somebody comes in with a little clips onto the front of them. Ring out the gimp.
Bring out the gimp. The gimp's sleeping. I guess you just have to wake him up now, won't you?
Instead of going to the market or the store for GMO foods, maybe you should buy a spine, set of balls. The natural order of things goes man, woman, child, animal, plant life. You get your morality and your ethics from God. You don't get it from Hollywood. You don't get it from news anchors. You get your life from God. You need to put God first. You need to obey the natural order of things. Feminism is being pushed on women and it's breaking up families. Climate change is being pushed on little children, and sodomy is being pushed on little children. People need to go back to a simpler way of life and take control over their own lives. Because if you don't take control over your own life, somebody else will control you. Being a victim is being celebrated now. Everybody wants to be a victim, and everybody's even more victimized than the last guy. You people need to wake up and find strength. Feminism is cancer. And cancer comes from ingesting poisons. You need to grow your own food. You need to take care of animals and plants and be around love instead of immersing yourself in fear constantly. There's an attack on Christians. These people are just pretend Christians, a majority of them. They think just putting a graven image on a wall makes them a good person. No, that's 2 pieces of wood and a fucking action figure. That doesn't make you a good person. You know, wishing for more stuff doesn't make you a good person. There's a lack of morality. There's a great weakness going on. It needs to be stamped out. It says in the Bible, no graven images. That means pictures of Christ. That means pictures of God. That means, you know, don't worship the instrument of his death, Christ. Don't worship the instrument of his death. Don't depict the man in excruciating pain. You know, your faith is not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be, you know, you're idolizing the man's death, and that's the basis of your faith. That he rose from the dead and ascended to heaven. No. Follow in his footsteps and follow in his teachings.
Jesus died for my sins so I can do anything I want and take no responsibility for my actions.
No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There's all this cultural appropriation crap going on, you know. You can't wear a sombrero. You can't call somebody chief. You know. The same people that believe in cultural appropriation believe in open borders and want other cultures to come to their culture and be immersed in their culture. But the only culture that these people have is smeared all over their face. So that's enough from me now. Okay? This will probably be flagged by a bunch of the same people that believe in open borders and not building walls are the same people that take offense. Offense is something that separates your land from something else. They don't believe in borders, but they take offense. Now, I'm a man who likes words, and words have meaning. So I'm going to make myself a big pot of tea. And maybe I'll have this one without sugar, because I'm sweet enough as it is. Bye.